Wow, that really had to hurt. Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure, and you're looking at my latest truckload all-terrain vehicle deal. So this mess is from near Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Yeah, it was quite a road trip. This deal is kind of an assortment of a bunch of little pieces that we kind of needed to put together to get him the money he needed for this thing. So let me lay it all out piece by piece. We'll kind of go through it, including what happened to this poor thing and the poor person driving it, and hopefully you will find that entertaining. So the first part I want to talk about is this Red Cat, I believe it's a 90cc ATV deal. You can see the plastic. Somebody spray painted it silver. I don't know, do you have to spray paint it black to be considered murdered out? The plastic is okay. One could kind of put it on something if you were desperate, perhaps cut it up for other pieces. It came with this Red Cat motor, and I looked up the code here. It's QME 147QME, and I believe that means it's a 90cc motor. It doesn't look like it has a lot of miles on it, but it's got a lot of things wrong with it that would make it almost impossible to start in its current state. Like these cracks here, those are vacuum leaks, right? The insulator's cracked. So stuff like that. For putting this motor back into service, I mean, it's missing this silly guard, and given that it's a 90cc, I think the guards are smaller. Maybe not, but I'm pretty sure they are. So that might have to be fashioned, or one might have to buy the one for the 125 and start cutting it up. It has the final gear here. You guys could see there's not a lot to it, and it feels like the transmission is still there. The plug is out of it, but it feels like, you know, it's moving things. You know, it's got the bad breath oil smell when you turn it around. So there we are. For the rest of the Red Cat, I showed you the plastic. I'm not sure how they did this repair. It is kind of interesting. Might be a technique if it was done a little neater. And you can see it's got one eye, one headlight, the other one's missing. Next batch of stuff. This came off a Recon 2018. He indicated that the battery compartment here was broken. I mean, the fenders actually look like they were in halfway decent shape. So he said he was getting new plastic and he was getting rid of this, so I took it. This seat is off of Coleman, obviously. He didn't seem to have the rest of it, so there's the Coleman seat. Those ribs are for the next time I decide to break ribs. I'll break those instead of my own, so it doesn't hurt nearly as much. So the cart in the back of the truck is a Massimo cart. It looked like this before it was crashed, and you guys could see it was the GKM200, and you could get an idea of what it cost. So by the time you ship it and put tax on it, you're looking at about $3,000. So the story I'm told on this thing is he got it. He only had it 2 weeks. On the second week, it got wrecked. If you look at the date of manufacture, it was October of 2020. He claims he just wrecked it in the fall, and it's been sitting since then. So maybe it sat in a warehouse or something for a period of time. He showed me where he wrecked it. What happened is he was flying along, went over a bump, and he planned on making a gentle turn and to the left, and all would have been good. He went over the bump. He unloaded his suspension. I think he cranked the wheel, and then he just slid into a tree. You could see the damage the tree did, right? That's one wing of the bumper. Then you got this guy, a flat spot, another wing of the bumper. Well, actually that's the center, and here's the other part of the bumper, right? So he folded the front of it. Probably should be coming across like this. He folded it all the way back in here. You could see how he folded it in there and there. If you look at the suspension pieces, they don't look like they really got bent, but I imagine as you attempt to put things back together again, you would be surprised. You could see also down here how that's all bent up, damaged. The plastic is not here. He managed to crash such that they 911 had to be called, and they actually cut him loose. He said he had a concussion and that he hurt his neck. He was a good-sized person, indicated he played football, and he indicated that his physician told him that he reached his quota of concussions. I mean, you could once again see it's new enough that there's still the little nubs on the tires there, right? So for all of this, I paid $525. You can see the light. There's also another light that goes in the center here. And out of it, this is complete. The cart itself is complete, minus the steering wheel. He kind of wanted to keep the steering wheel as a keepsake. And I say if you're going to get a concussion from a steering wheel, you should probably keep it as a keepsake. Perhaps as a reminder to make you think about not doing what you did to get the concussion. I got both seats. This thing is low mileage, and it was kept inside. So the seats are nice, right? They're not water laden or anything. Given the low mileage, the tires are in nice shape, the brakes are in nice shape, the engine was hardly used. I mentioned that it was 200cc. You can see it's the heavier duty model. This is all cast iron instead of aluminum. There's the cooler for it. I have the cable shifter for forward and reverse. Once again, everything appears to be here. He told me before they took it apart, that's not good. One wouldn't expect to see it so low on oil. Anyway, he told me before he took it apart that everything ran beautifully. The whole thing was good. Everything was great. So let's hope that's true. There's the shifter right there. So just another couple of things. I looked this engine over. I looked everywhere I could find, and nowhere is there a manufacturer. So it's just a Chinese-made 200cc GY6 motor, I guess. No manufacturer. Once again, Massimo, they do not make their own engines. Supposedly, if you look them up, you can find out that they're assembled in Texas. I don't know how assembled, if they just put all the pieces together, if they actually put all these pipes on jigs and weld them together. It does look like they did a pretty good job welding this stuff, right? They look like they completed the welds fairly well. The tubing looks like it's a decent diameter, and considering how much of it there is, it seems to be, once again, fairly well made. Now, the big question, what am I going to do with it? They unbolted the back end of it. You can see it right down there. Right, nothing was, keep the rope on my fingers, there you go. Right, so I'm not sure if this will bolt right into another cart hole. I'm not sure about the spacing, because I do have a couple of different carts to bolt it into. One of them is a single seater, and one of them is a double seater. It goes into the double seater, given the seats and the roll bar, that could be really pretty handy. So that's what I'm looking at it for now. I know, for those of you guys who know what I spend on things, I know some of you are going to be thinking, wow, Harvey, you spent $5.25 on that. That's quite a bit of money for a motor, a set of tires, you know, a set of seats, and some assorted junk. Yeah, I guess that could be said. I would have liked to beat the price down further, but he had just bought it, and the choice was, I just wasn't, you know, I would have liked to spend $300 or less on this. $350, $400 on the outside, so getting it up over $5 was a pretty big expenditure. Though, if you started buying parts for your go-kart and you started at the tires and you worked your way up, and then seats that are in nice shape, and an engine and an exhaust and a carburetor, as you started playing those games, as you were trying to repair one of these, perhaps I think you would work your way up. But $5.25 was more money than I wanted to spend. Just quickly, before I end this video, generally speaking, I do not buy crashed stuff. I do buy salvage stuff, typically burned type stuff. I normally don't buy crash stuff because I always feel like it could have some bad luck or bad karma assigned to it if somebody got hurt. I once owned a Kawasaki 185 four-wheeler, Breeze maybe it was called. I bought it and it really looked decent, except it had a flat in the back. And then after we were loading it, and the person I bought it from told me that it belonged to a buddy of his that rolled it nose over tea kettle and broke his back and was having a tough time recovering. After that, I just didn't want it, quite honestly. So I told the story to a buddy of mine who told me that I was chicken droppings without using the word droppings, and he bought it. And then he got himself drunk. He was pulling a cart on it and basically did to it what happened here. Except he was on an ATV, so he launched himself over the handlebars, broke his shoulder, and he had quite a bit of fun recovering from that. He told me that I sold him a haunted cart, and I told him drunken driving is never a good idea. So, I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about wrecked stuff. Generally speaking, I'm not madly in love with it. But given the fact that the person recovered, looks like completely, other than not getting any more concussions, but that advice can be given to all of us, even if we've never experienced a concussion. So anyway, here it is. Let me know if you guys think things could bring karma or ghosts or bad luck with them. That's always an interesting discussion. Anyway, I need you all to keep your feet down, your heads up, and get out and enjoy each and every day. Next, we'll be talking about the other half a load that was on top of this. All right, see you guys again soon. Bye now.